So I had two observations when I visited the Rose Art Museum's exhibit this semester. And the first is that that related to the Greenblatt's reading, that there was no sense of wonder in the Hans Hofmann exhibit, which was kind of advertised as this amazing exhibit of his huge works. But I really felt that after following up from the surrealism exhibit, where I thought that you walked in and you were hit with this sense of awe and wonder and kind of bizarre structure that they around which they created the exhibit, this one forced it on you that it was like, okay, these paintings are huge, we're hanging them in the middle of the room and you're going to be inspired, and I therefore wasn't. But I think more interesting to me was the Saints and Sinners exhibit, which is the exhibition that you first see when you walk into the art museum. And to me, it was reminiscent a little bit of the Tony Bennett article that we read, and this idea of the cabinet of curiosities. So it was mostly in the Sinners exhibit, and so what I found really interesting was the way that the curator characterized Saints and Sinners was the sinners were artists who focused on the material, and artists who focused on kind of human emotions, physicality, and things like that. And so I guess and so her point was less that they were sinning, but that they were dealing with worldly and earthly materials, and that saints were dealing with something kind of above and beyond the natural. And so I thought it was really interesting that this idea of taking the ordinary and making it something extraordinary, something worth placing in these cabinets of curiosities, these things that might still be part of everyday life but are no longer serve the purpose that they served originally. Like we were talking about, these objects that are no longer worn all the time, are no longer used, and so they were put in these cabinets of curiosities because people needed a focal point, something to worship, something to kind of center themselves around. And to me, this Sinners exhibit is kind of a modern day version of that. You have these leaves that are coated in silver, or that are now kind of made of metal, and the curator makes a point in the pamphlet that it's like this Midas touch idea, that it's taking something, removing it from the natural world and creating art from it. And there's also that giant Rauschenberg on the wall that was also up in the surrealism exhibit that similarly uses a clock, and he's using these normal things to create art. And kind of in the cabinets of curiosities, they were also using normal things to then create and come up with art. And so I really liked the idea that it was kind of a modern twist on this kind of older thing, and this original, it mirrors this kind of the modern museum and the original museum, if you can call the cabinets of curiosities the original museum. So I really liked that, and it gave me a new perspective on kind of how to see some of these works in their context, that they're taking, you know, a lot of Warhol's silk screen of the race riots, which was a newspaper photograph and now is art that's supposed to evoke emotion. And there's a wall hanging that's, you know, reminiscent of the "Sorry We're Closed" that they hang on restaurants and things after hours. It says "Sorry We're Dead," and it's this idea of, you know, the human mortality and taking something so ordinary that you see every day and placing it in a different framework. So yeah, that's my